RFK Jr. appears before Congress.
Is it the custom of this committee to censor viewpoints that we disagree with from witnesses?
Mr. Chairman.
They say we're not trying to censor him. We just don't want him to have a megaphone.
I mean, if we don't have a First Amendment, it's just, I'm frightened by where we go.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
You may not. You may not.
I just
Mr.
want to
Chair,
respond.
Mr. Chair,
I don't
the
think-
time is out. We're done.
Why the fear? Nope, we're done. Like, don't speak. Nope, we don't want to hear it.
We're going to let
But
Mr. Kennedy.
He has had so much additional time.
Well, I think everyone's had
Why?
additional time.
No,
and we're gonna
why?
get-
Why are you doing that specifically for him?
Because
I
we
just
don't
want
as
to
opposed to other
explain.
people?
It speaks louder than any words. You're just trying to stifle speech.
Mr. Chairman, we respectfully requested that you rescind Mr. Kennedy's invitation to appear here due to his repeated and very recent statements that spread dangerous anti-Semitic and anti-Asian conspiracy theories.
Well, that's pretty broad. Let's see if she can get specific.
Because House rules prohibit public testimony that degrades or defames people.
Degrades? How are you going to define degrading? Because if we start using that standard, you're going to be able to prevent a lot of people from speaking.
His reckless rhetoric helped fuel anti-Semitic incidents, which for the record are at the highest level in the United States since 1970.
Right, so the argument is that he has helped fuel anti-Semitism. So, okay, anti-Semitism clearly is at an alarming high. She's going to take that point and connect it to something completely different.
Since you gave Mr. Kennedy a megaphone today, I want to give him a chance to correct his statements and prepare some of the harm that he's helped cause. Mr. Kennedy, you're well educated. So yes or no, please, are you aware that for centuries Jews have been scapegoated and blamed for causing illnesses like Black Plague and more recently COVID?
Yes, but okay, what does that have to do with RFK Jr.? Let's see where she goes with this.
And it still fuels deadly violence today. Yet last week, you floated a baseless conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was bioengineered to target Caucasians and Black people, but to spare Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people.
Is that directly what he said? That is the question that needs to be answered here.
Mr. Kennedy, your bizarre, unproven claim echoes that same historic slander of labeling Jews and Chinese people as a race, and that Jews, and in this case Chinese people, somehow managed to avoid a deadly illness that targets other groups for death. You do see that, yes or no?
You're misstating.
No.
You are.
I quoted what you said earlier.
When and where did he say this as well? Because the context is going to matter.
I was describing an NIH-funded study.
No, you didn't cite any.
I was describing an NIH-funded study by Cleveland Clinic
Reclaiming
scientists.
Reclaiming my time. You did not reference. Reclaiming my
Published
time.
in USC
Mr.
Medical,
Chairman,
which is one.
The time is mine. I'm reclaiming it. Please ask the witness to stop talking.
You asked me a question.
Reclaiming.
Allow me to
my
answer
time.
my question.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like about 10 seconds
the
back.
time
You
belongs.
are slandering me
Time belongs to the-
incorrectly.
the time belongs
You're
to the
saying
time.
it's dishonest.
Time belongs
I
to the gentlelady
need
from
time to
Florida.
defend myself.
Why would you ask him a question the moment he starts to answer it, you're just going to play this game and shut him down and try and reclaim your time?
Mr.
Time
Chairman,
belongs to the gentlelady from Florida.
I'd like 15 seconds back.
We will
Mr.
be happy to
Chairman.
give you that.
Thank you so much.
And Jim Jordan's like, you can have your 15 seconds. Fine, go for it.
You did not cite any study like you are citing here now during that conversation.
It was within the context of a conversation.
You're trying to rewrite history here. A few months ago, Mr. Kennedy, you compared COVID public health policies to barbaric, murderous tactics of Nazi Germany, saying that Jewish people in Nazi Germany had more freedom than Americans facing COVID health restrictions.
Congressman, what you are saying
I'm a
is a lie.
congresswoman. That you said it.
No, I did not. I never contained.
Okay.
I never, ever
Mr. Chairman, I'm
compared
happy to
COVID
enter into the record when Mr.
countermeasures.
Kennedy said that. I reclaim my time.
Something about this rings bullshit.
In discussing COVID public health measures, you made light of the genocide against Jewish people by saying, and I quote, even Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland, you could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did.
That if that's the quote that he said, she's really running with that. That's an oversimplification of that. There could definitely be context where he could be making an observation of how it feels like you cannot escape with the slip of a tongue, make an analogy about Anne Frank hiding and how it can feel like that. This is such a slick game.
Mr. Kennedy, do you think it was easy for Jewish people to escape systematic slaughter of Nazis, yes or no?
No. What kind of stupid question is that?
Do you think it was just as hard to wear a mask during COVID as it was to hide under floorboards or false walls so you weren't murdered or dragged to a concentration camp? Yes or no?
Excuse me?
It's such a clear game. She's asking these questions to try and create a completely different narrative than the context of what he said.
Of course not. That's
Okay.
ridiculous.
That's a comparison that you made.
I did
Mr.
not
Kennedy,
make that
were the measures
comparison.
taken.
As human beings, we use language as a tool. We're all bumbling fools doing our best with the tools the language we have. We're going to make mistakes along the way. If someone comes along and plays a game like this, it's so sleazy.
I'm deeply saddened that this is a conversation we're having today. I have deep respect for what Mr. Kennedy's family did and still does to make life better for all Americans. But what you are doing now, Mr. Kennedy, and the forces you aligned yourself are reckless, dangerous, and disturbing.
The forces that you have aligned yourself with. So that's where this is coming from.
You've marginalized other groups too, like Asian Americans and the LGBTQ plus community. And worse, you don't seem to care or brush it all off to misquotes and misunderstanding. Frankly, it's disgusting. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman. I yield back the balance of my time.
I was home over the holidays. Individuals I know in my own life, the most common attack on Trump would be through RFK Jr. Well, he's this nut, he's anti-vaccine. Why are you afraid of questions?
Our country had had one of the highest vaccination rates in the world and the worst health outcomes. We have 4.2% of the global population. We had 16% of the COVID deaths.
Well, yes, but when you question these things, it causes people to not get vaccinated, and that's how we get the death rate from misinformation.
In fact, the term misinformation did not denote falsehood or veracity. Rather, it was a euphemism for any information that departed from government orthodoxies.
If you're on the side of suppressing questions, not allowing questions, you might want to think twice about that.
We should have all been sharing information openly and talking to the 15 million doctors through the internet who are treating patients on the front line all over the world and channeling the best therapies, the most successful treatments.
When one side is arguing for the free flow of free inquiry, the importance of freedom of speech.
The one thing that would give us an advantage over totalitarian systems was this capacity for the free flow of information and a complete lack of control of debate, so that ideas that would eventually mature into policies would be annealed in a furnace of debate.
It's such a fundamental truth. I can't believe anyone's arguing against that, but they are.
We are supposed to be the exemplary democracy, and the corner foundation stone of our system is freedom of speech. All of the other freedoms depend on it. If we lose that, not only do we lose our democracy in this country, but the entire world loses us as an example.
Well said. Good point. And what do they do in response to this? What is the brilliant counter?
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. Now I recognize the gentleman from Kentucky.
Mr. Chairman, I have a unanimous consent request.
Gentleman, say a request.
You can't make this up. In the wake of such an articulate point, this is their response.
As for unanimous consent to enter the record, an article by the New York Times on July the 20th, 2023, New York Post published Hunter Biden report amid newsroom doubts. As for unanimous consent.
That just sums the whole thing up. Really, that's the best you can do. It's just so nonsensical. And Jim Jeffries is even he can't help but laugh.
You can, without objection. Some things amaze me. The gentleman from Kentucky is recognized, and this will be our last line of questioning.
At this point, he's just like, I can't believe you just said those words out loud in Congress, in front of cameras and the world.